Are you tired of playing solitaire and want to learn a real game? Well, stay with me and let's learn how to play Texas Hold'em. So let's start off with the simple stuff. Blinds. Blinds are mandatory bets placed by the first two players to act at the start of the game. In Texas Hold'em, the dealer holds the usual button or dealer button marker, and the player to the dealer's left holds the small blind button, and the player to the left of the small blind has to wager the big blind because they have the big blind button. Both of them must pay before any cards are actually dealt. Now, the value of the blinds are determined by the casino or the tournament in question, but the thing to remember is that the big blind is always going to be double the amount of the small blind. Okay, so following the small and big blind bet, two cards will be dealt to all players at the table and the round will begin. Each player in turn will need to decide whether to fold, raise, or call the big blind in order to stay in the game. So after the betting rounds are over and the next round begins, the dealer button, the small blind, and the big blind positions will all be moved one player to the left. Next up, betting options. This is pretty much a no-brainer as everything remains the same as you see in typical poker variations, meaning you have the typical fold, check, bet, call, or raise actions. But Texas Hold'em includes the always magnificent, the always terrifying, and many times wrongly used all-in bet. All bets aside, let's move on to how cards are actually dealt. Now, pre-flop, players will receive two face-down cards in front of them called their hole cards. And after seeing their cards, each player will be able to call or raise that big blind. The betting action begins from the player to the left of the big blind. This player is free to bet, fold, call, or raise. So once this player acts, the betting round continues clockwise until all active players have made equal bets or have folded. Keep in mind that the blind players act last in the pre-flop round, and even if everyone calls that big blind bet, the big blind player will still have the last action to check or raise. Following the pre-flop is the flop itself. At this stage, three community cards will be dealt face up onto the table. Betting on the flop begins from the player to the left of the dealer, who was previously the small blind. And this is where all rounds will start here on in, except for that pre-flop round that I already discussed. The betting options here are almost identical, the only difference being that since no bets have been put on the round, like the blind rounds, players can check and pass their turns until someone bets. If all players check the hand, it moves to the next round. So after the flop round, we have the turn, in which one more card will be dealt face up onto the table. This will be the fourth community card, and in Hold'em, this is sometimes referred to as the fourth street or the turn. Once all players still in the hand have had a chance to take an action, the next betting round begins, again from the player to the left of the button. The final betting round is referred to as the river or fifth street, and this is where the fifth community card is dealt face up. And it's important to remember that betting rules here will remain the same as they did in the flop and turn round. Last but not least, my favorite moment, the one that separates that prey from predator, that sheep from the lion, the winners from the losers, the showdown. So when the final betting round is complete and there's more than one active player still in the hand, the last player to bet or raise has to show their cards. If there was no bet in the final round, the first player still in the hand to the left of the dealer has to show their cards first. Now, naturally, the player with the best 5 cards wins the pot, and in the case of a tie, the pot is split equally. Keep in mind, Texas Hold'em rules state that all suits are equal. So if 2 or more players have the same hand rank but with different suits, it's still a tie, unlike some other poker variations out there. So guys, let us know if I've convinced you to check out Texas Hold'em in the comment section down below. Wishing you luck and reminding you as always, play responsibly.